Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's Tuesday, March 17th. Happy St. Patrick's Day. First of all, let's start with this. Everybody take a deep breath. All right. I just wanted to talk to you today, see how everybody's doing, and talk to you about something very important that we need to be mindful of as we move forward through these very interesting and trying times for many of us, as we're trying to stay home and stay away from people and are practicing our social distancing. As a member of the Montgomery County Behavioral Health and Suicide Prevention Task Force, we cannot forget our friends and neighbors and loved ones that have mental health issues, and specifically as it relates to the potential for suicide. Because it's times like these when we're quarantining, self-quarantining, staying at home. We tend to sit at home sometimes alone, and some people will tend to let their minds get the better of them. And so, you've heard me talk about, and you've seen posts I've made about looking after your neighbors and making sure people are doing all right and looking after your friends and your loved ones. But it's especially important at times like these because mental health and suicide doesn't shut down just because everything around us is shutting down. As a matter of fact, it can exacerbate it and make it worse than it already is if we're not paying attention. And so not only is the effort to quarantine or isolate or social distance yourself to prevent the spread of COVID-19, we also have to keep in mind that the one thing we do need to do is make sure that those folks around us are doing good mentally. They have good mental health, and talking to them is the way we need to do that. So I wanted to specifically talk to you today because look, I mean, we're in trying times, and I know that some people may have some anxiety, right? Depression, folks with PTSD. These things don't just go away. And quite frankly, if you're somebody who, your business is shut down, you're lost your job, or you've been furloughed, not sure maybe how you're going to pay the bills or put food on the table and take care of your family. These are the times we need to pay specific attention to everything that's going on around us and in our friends and neighbors and loved ones, because we need to make sure that we maintain social contact. We can do that verbally through talking on the phone or FaceTiming or whatever it is. And quite frankly, we can talk to each other in person if we just practice what we need to practice. And it's really important because, again, these things don't just go away because something is happening. And actually, unfortunately, in these times, things tend to actually get worse because we've had these added pressures put on us and added anxiety and added depression. So it may not even be somebody that you would think is having issues with anything, but it's important that you talk. And if you think somebody's having trouble or they're in distress, talk to them and do it compassionately. And if you have to, you look them in the eye and say, are you thinking about taking your own life right now? Because again, the most important thing we can do in talking to somebody that may be in distress is to put time into the equation. And we want to have that conversation. And, we don't want to demean their feelings and demean their thoughts. And we don't want to tell people everything's just going to be okay, because we don't want to diminish what they're feeling. But we do want to ask them questions, and we need to ask questions. Why do you feel the way you do? What did you do when you got up out of bed this morning? What are you going to do this afternoon? How are you keeping yourself busy? These are the types of questions to keep a conversation going. And I want to make sure people know some of the contacts out there that can be reached if somebody, either yourself or somebody may be having a situation where they may be in some distress. Obviously, if you're in a situation where you feel there's certainly immediate danger to whoever you're talking to or yourself, remove yourself from that situation and call 911. You always want to call 911 if you feel that that's the case. If you feel you can have that conversation, start that conversation. And I'm going to show you some numbers right now that everyone should know. You got the National Suicide Hotline, 800-273-TALK, or 8255, or you can text the word TALK to 741-741. And on the bottom there, this is the Montgomery County Crisis Intervention Team. They're the mental health officers that work out of the Precinct 1 Constable's office. And to get a hold of them, you're going to actually call the Sheriff's Department non-emergency number, which is listed right down there, 936-760-5800, and ask for a crisis intervention team officer to come do. They can do a hospitality check to make sure somebody's doing okay, and they can come talk to somebody. That's their job. That's what their mission is. There's 14 of those officers in our county. And again, that's how they can be reached in that non-emergency line if it's a non-emergency. Again, if it's an emergency, call 911. But otherwise, some other means that you can do to help people, because we do have to remember that in these times, people with mental health issues and suicidal thoughts, it's not going to go away. And oftentimes in cases like this, it's going to get worse because of the surroundings and what's going on. And you never know what's happened in somebody's life in the last few days that may have a significant impact. So please, please, please make sure you're taking care of and contacting and talking to your neighbors, friends, and loved ones, especially those that may have had something impact their lives recently that could create more anxiety or depression. And so I know it's a tough subject to talk about, but it's important we talk about it, and I think it's important that everybody understand and work together to try to keep everybody safe. And again, if you're a firearm owner, especially now that we have all the kids at home and these trying circumstances in our surroundings, just make sure that you have it locked away in a safe place and you store it the proper way. Safe storage is always very important, especially when we have all the kiddos home and we have these times where anxiety, depression, any kind of mental health issue could be exacerbated. So again, I hope everybody is having a good St. Patrick's Day, at least as best as you can. Put some green on, smile, tell somebody happy St. Patrick's Day, because there'll be another one next year. And so we want to make sure that everyone's here today can celebrate the one next year as well. But again, I just wanted to touch base with everybody, talk about a touchy subject, but one that I think is utterly important that we all pay attention to. Until the next time, please take care of yourselves and take care of others. Thanks. Bye.